The Lost Memoirs of Little Red Riding Hood. What big eyes you have. They always remember that part. Never what came after.
They sang songs about me once. Not songs exactly, rhymes. Stories whispered to children to warn them about straying too far from home. My cloak was red, they said. Bright, innocent crimson. Like I was a symbol of purity. A little girl skipping through the woods with a basket and a smile. But they never tell what I saw in the woods. What I became after. They don't say what red really meant. My name is Eleanor, but they called me Little Red because of the cloak my grandmother sewed for me when I was 6. A gift stitched with love, yes, but more than that, with warnings. She claimed the red scared off evil spirits. I wore it always, even when it grew too small. Even when the townsfolk began to stare. That day, the day was gray-skied and swollen with the scent of rot beneath the leaves. I was 12. Mother gave me the basket and sent me to grandmother's cottage on the far side of the Blackridge Woods. A sickbed visit, simple as that. No one ever worried about wolves anymore, but we still told the stories, maybe to keep the real monsters at bay. They weren't stories. I met him just past the gnarled ash tree, where the roots clawed like fingers from the earth. He didn't look like a wolf, not then. He looked like a man, pale, tall, wearing a coat too thin for the cold. His teeth gleamed when he smiled, not white, yellowed, crooked, as if he'd sharpened them on bone. He said his name was Grim. He asked where I was going. I was 12 and polite, even to strangers. I told him. The woods warped around us. Trees leaned in. Bark peeled in long, wet strips like flesh. I swear I heard something click in the air behind me, like a snare closing. He vanished between one blink and the next. I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped into the cottage. It smelled sweet, not like cinnamon or tea, sweet like meat gone soft, sweet like decay. The bed curtains were drawn. A voice called, "Come closer, child." I moved slowly, shadows bent at impossible angles. My grandmother's rocking chair was still swaying, but no one was in it. You know the rest. The "my, what big eyes you have," and the teeth, and the scream. But what they never say is that I didn't run. I froze. I watched as the thing in the bed, wearing her skin like a mask, rose from the sheets and stretched tall enough to scrape the ceiling beams. Its jaw unhinged, eyes black as a moonless sky, tongue lolling, wet and whispering. My grandmother's bones were on the floor, gnawed hollow. I lost time then. When I woke, I was covered in blood, curled in the hearth. The fire had long gone out. My cloak was no longer red. It was soaked dark. The woodsman says he found me like that. He claims he killed the beast. But I've always wondered, was there ever a woodsman, or did I kill it? They never let me go back to the cottage. It was razed, burned to the stonework. They said it was grief, that I imagined what I saw. But I knew better. Something wore my grandmother's voice, something ancient, something hungry. I stopped speaking for nearly a year. My mother died that winter, her heart, they said. But I know the truth. The wolf cursed us. It followed me. The dreams began after that. Teeth beneath my bed, eyes behind every mirror, whispers under my fingernails. By 16, I lived alone in a stone house near the wood line. I never married, no children, just the sound of howling wind through shattered panes and a fire that never warmed the room. They called me mad, witch. I let them. Better fear than sympathy. I spent years researching folklore, wolves in sheepskins, skinwalkers, the Wendigo. None of them matched what I saw. Then I found a book in a market cellar, wrapped in deer hide and inked in rust. The Throat and the Forest, a forgotten volume. It spoke of entities born in the folds of stories, creatures that live inside tales and feed on their retellings. Every time a child hears a version of my story, the wolf grows stronger. It wasn't just a monster. It was an idea, a parasitic myth, and I was the source. I began to see them then. Other survivors, the girl with soot on her hands who never came out of the oven, a boy with a broken flute who couldn't sleep without hearing flutes in the walls, the woman who danced in iron shoes until her feet melted. Fairy tales, they call them. But these tales aren't about fairies. They're graves with music. The wolf lives in me now. Not literally, no, but the hunger, the watching, the instinct. It's in the way I flinch at kind voices. It's in the way I check under my bed every night. Still, it's in the dreams that always end with warm breath against my ear and a voice that says, I never left the bed, Red. I stopped wearing the cloak, but it still hangs in the hallway like a skin I once wore. Some nights I hear scratching, not at the door, from inside the walls, from under the floorboards, from beneath my skin. They always leave out the worst part. The wolf didn't just eat her, it became her. It slipped into her body like a hand into a glove, wore her teeth, her voice, her lullabies. It knew me. It remembered my birthmark. It called me Pumpkin, the way she used to. It didn't just want to eat me, it wanted to be my family. So when I look into someone's eyes now, I wait. I watch for the twitch, the hiss of breath behind their grin. Because once you've seen it, you know, most monsters don't growl. They speak gently. They kiss your forehead goodnight. I've heard children in the village playing, singing. Little Red, so brave and true, wore her cloak and never knew. The wolf had eyes and claws and might, but Red would win that fateful night. No, she didn't win. The real ending is this. I lived, yes, but I never left that room. Part of me is still there, still staring at the bed, still listening to that familiar voice call out, Come closer, child. The wolf doesn't die. It waits, it watches, it tells the story again and again through 1,000 mouths. That's what it feeds on. You're feeding it now, aren't you? By reading this, by remembering, by wondering if there's something under your bed tonight. They began in winter. At first, I thought it was grief. Cold nights, loneliness. But there were nights I'd wake with my mouth full of dirt, leaves under my nails, and a taste on my tongue that wasn't mine. Metallic, warm, sweet. Something inside me was changing. I no longer feared the forest. I craved it. When the moon swelled fat in the sky, my bones ached. My dreams turned red and violent. I ran through trees on all fours, or thought I did. Then I'd wake covered in bruises and frost. The nightmares weren't dreams. They were memories. One night, by the fire, I spoke aloud for the first time in weeks. Just a whisper. Come closer, child. My mouth moved, but the voice wasn't mine. It was hers, my grandmother's, the cadence, the tone, the pet name. It spilled out before I realized it. Then I laughed, and even the laugh wasn't mine. It was too deep, too long, too familiar. I began to hear whispers when I wasn't speaking, sometimes in my own head, sometimes echoing in the trees, sometimes behind me. There's an old cracked mirror in the cottage. I covered it for years, but tonight I looked. At first, I saw myself, pale, weathered, tired. But when I moved, the reflection didn't. It blinked too slowly, its pupils were slits, its lips curled too far back, exposing long teeth I didn't remember having. I touched my face. So did it. But when I smiled, it grinned. And I realized the mirror wasn't broken. I was. There's a girl missing from the village. They said wolves got her. I kept quiet. But I remember the blood under my nails, the warmth between my teeth, the howling I woke to. Not from outside, but from within. There's a cloak hidden beneath the floorboards. It's not mine. It's small, blue, and it smells like lavender. I dug a grave out back, but I didn't bury her. I buried what was left of myself. I can feel it now, under the skin, the way my spine shivers before I change. The tug at the base of my back, like something wants out. I've taken to walking the woods at night again, but now the trees part for me. They recognize their own. They say wolves hunt in packs, but I'm not part of one. I am the first. The curse. The stories got it wrong. The wolf didn't kill me, it rebuilt me. And if you've read this far, then maybe you're feeling it too. That itch, that growl. Run if you want. But eventually, you'll come back to the woods. We all do.
Eleanor, Little Red Blackwood. Last entry, March 3rd. Found in her home, fire long cold, cloak nailed to the door like a warning. No sign of forced entry, only a single line carved into the wall. The tale must be told again.